What's up, guys? Welcome to Loveshack Entertainment, and today we're going to be bringing you a deck profile video. So we're bringing you a zombie deck profile video, which is my main deck still, and I've been playing it for a while. But the new list just came out, and even though the list didn't really do too much to hit the deck aside from taking away low ball chain, I've had some people request an updated version of the build, and I figured why not, just because it'll be better to have a more fresh, more recent version that seems to work well with the current format. So, I'll jump right into this because I don't want to waste too much time. And like I said, I've done these videos before, but it's just more like an updated version of the build now. So, playing 2 Zombie Master, triple Unizombie, obviously. Like I've said before, this is such a key card in the deck, and obviously it enables all your plays, so it's Foolish Burial, and it modifies the levels and stuff, so it's really good all around. Triple Mizuki, again, sort of necessary, sort of really how the deck functions as well as it does. It's a free plus from the graveyard, so it's really good for what it does. Double Goblin Zombie. I don't remember if I was playing this at 2 before. I'm fairly certain I was playing it at 1 when I did the last version of the build. Honestly, the card combos really well to really get your pluses back, to speed up the deck, and it also works well with stuff like Supply Unit, which I still play, and Scrap Dragon. So I found this card just to be a really good combo piece, and I'm sometimes able to use the effect twice in one turn, so you keep your hand fresh, and you're also able to have another dark level 4 zombie that can search out your other stuff. So there's one Plague Spreader zombie, so this is a decent card. I mean, I've used it to make Goyo and stuff like that, but I also use it for Crush Card Virus a lot, which is, you know, part of the reason that I play Crush, because you can get this in the grave so easily, so and then you're able to disrupt a lot of things. Crush Card Virus does hit a lot of stuff, some a little bit more than others, but it hurts Cliff Forts, it hits other things, so it's a pretty good card. The one Armageddon Knight, still, which is just, you know, reusable with Call of the Haunted. It's a level 4, so it works well for Xyz plays and stuff, and it loops really well with Zephyros, which is the last monster that I play. So Zephyros, obviously, is just a really cool card because it lets me reuse all sorts of things, not to mention it's a dark level 4, and there's some really cool combos with Armageddon Knight and things like that, which was powerful to put Lava Ball Chain out turn 1, but I can't do that anymore, obviously with the updated list. So that's it for monsters. That's pretty much what Zephyros is good for, is combo plays, but it works really well. Also allows me to reuse Fiendish Chains and Supply Squad and things like that, so big fan of it. So 2 Pot of Duality. Again, I special summon a lot in this deck, but there's also, like, every other turn is a turn of setup, so it's definitely worth it to have to increase the consistency. You can OTK a lot if you can put some powerful plays on the board, but Upstart Goblin just gives them a bit too much life points, and if you're not able to really set up an OTK because of Unizombie's attack restriction, it can hurt you, so I find Duality to be better. 2 MST, I side the third one. The deck really needed to main 3 when Vanities was at 3 and things like that, but right now it's a little bit tame, so you don't have to worry about it as much. You can pretty much just play it at 2 and it's alright. 2 Supply Squad, which I've talked about before. I think it's a great card. I think it combos well with stuff. Really helps me with Goblin Zombie and things like that. Combos with Scrap Dragon, so it keeps your hand fresh, and this is a deck that obviously gets gone through pretty quickly, so it allows you to just have some extra resources. 2 Dark Hole, because it's just good in here. I don't mind using it sometimes if I have Goblin Zombie on the field, although I would rather synchro with it. There are some scenarios in which I'm able to use Supply Squad with Dark Hole and Goblin Zombie and +1 off that play, and also clear my opponent's field. So pretty cool. 1 Burial from a Different Dimension. This card is far too good, especially when you used up all your Mizukis and then you play this, put them back in the grave, and you can sometimes OTK if you can pull off. There's been a couple of scenarios where I've pulled off, 6 Mizuki effects in one turn just by going off and looping all sorts of stuff. So really cool card, really useful for that purpose. Soul Charge. I was playing Book of Life for a little while and Soul Charge, and I feel like I just don't need that much recursion because I have a lot of stuff that brings stuff back. Soul Charge is just better because turn 1 I have the potential to put like a Beals on the board or something, which is just difficult for the opponent to get over, or at least forces them to waste resources to get over it. So Allure of Darkness, and this one should be self-explanatory. Draw power speeds up the deck, and, I've got plenty of darks, so it's not like it's ever really a dead draw. 1 Foolish Burial. Again, it's just an extra Unizombie, gets Mizuki engrave, can sometimes use it to get, Plague Spreader engrave, or Zephyros if it's, late game, and maybe for some reason I can't get Armageddon Knight, whatever. 1 Book of Moon. Just kind of like a toolbox card, does whatever it needs to do, but it's really good, obviously, and it's just a strong, option for a lot of things. I play 2 Fiendish Chain because I still think this card is like really good right now, and it still hits a lot of things. You could play it at 3, but I'm able to loop it with Zephyros and stuff, so I don't necessarily worry about a third copy so much. 2 Call of the Haunted, which again, is just far too good in here. It's, you know, if they MST it, you chain it, bring back your Goblin zombie, you get the pop, you get a free search. Or you use it with, you know, exceeds or synchros that have been destroyed. Not to mention, if you synchro with a monster that you brought back with this, then you have fodder for Scrap Dragon on the field. So, all things considered, it's pretty good. These are all sliding all over the place. 2, Mirror Force, really good card. I've actually been playtesting around with the Fang of Critias a little bit in here, just because I have Mirror Force and Crush Guard and things like that. So, you know, I'm able to use it with stuff like Mirror Force Dragon, which is pretty cool. So right now, I'm not actually playing it in the main deck, but it's pretty funny, and it's pretty effective, honestly. If you can put Mirror Force Dragon out turn 1, there's not a lot of decks that can answer it. Clifford's have Stealth, and, you know, BA doesn't have as much of an issue with it, but it's a strong card that forces your opponent to waste some resources to get around it. So that's something I've been considering, but I'm going to have to do, obviously, a bit more testing with. And then for the rest of the traps, there's Bottomless, Ring of Destruction, which I still think is really good. Some decks don't benefit from it as much as others, but this one here, you know, where I'm going for OTKs and stuff anyway, you know, shaving off some damage is certainly always helpful. Compulse, Torrential, which, again, combos well with Supply Squad, Goblin Zombie, etc. Solemn Warning is Solemn Warning, Vanity's Emptiness, and Crush Card Virus, which is still a really powerful card, still hits a lot of things, and is just far too good not to play. So, that's why I play that. As far as my extra deck goes, I am missing a couple of cards at the moment, at the time I'm making this video, so you're not going to see a Silent Honor Arc, an Exciton, or a Castel, but they are part of the deck, which is why it's going to come up a little short. So I got Yahtzee, Scrap Dragon, Star Eater, Thought Ruler, Metaphys Horus, Beals, Black Rose, Goyo, and Stardust. So, a lot of these are self-explanatory, and some of you may be looking at Metaphys Horus and wonder why I'm playing this. This card is proven to be quite useful. There's a lot of Spellbook players at our locals, and it's actually really good to shut down Tower and lock down a lot of their plays. But there are some practical uses for it, too. It nullifies Necro Valley and all that stuff. What I'm saying with that is the Synchro Summon, if you Synchro Summon it using an effect monster, you can target a face-up card on the field and negate that target's effects. So it's a permanent negation, and it's 2,300 body, so it's not too bad. Most of the time I'll go Goyo, but there have been some scenarios where having that helps. And I think I've said before, I think Scrap Dragon is kind of like the MVP of the deck, but, you know, Goyo's not terrible either. And then Castel, Shark, Exciton, all in there. And I play a Maestro. I don't know why. I had the extra space, and it just kind of gets over some stuff. Not always, but it's nice to have that battle protection, or destruction protection in general if I need it, or if I need to make something that I can just get a quick detach to, you know, kind of speed up some plays. So it's just sort of like one of those things that's in there because it's in there. Right now, it's just kind of filling the place that Chain did hold before until I figure out something else. Ragna Zero, of course, Master Key Beetle, and Abyss Dweller, like I said, plus Castel, Shark, and Exciton. So that's what that is. Daigusto Emerald wouldn't be too bad either, I don't think, but right now it's just not a necessity. And then for the side deck, 2 Chain Disappearance, mostly for Burning Abyss, because this is pretty much one of the better counters against them, but if not, you do have Shadow Imprisoning Mirror as well. This hurts Shadal's. Chain Disappearance hurts Heroes as well, so I just think it's a good card, and I think it's a really solid side to have for answers to stuff. 2 Regeki Break, this is mostly sided against Clifford, along with this 3rd MST. I can use it for Graveyard setup to get Mizuki in Grave or stuff like that if I have extra stuff in my hand, and then you chain it to Scout and get over that. Now, Twister might do the job just as well, but this also can hit other things if you need it to, so it's not too bad as an option. 2 Zombie World, which, again, I've said before, any deck that, you know, a rogue deck that plays tribute summons and stuff like that, or relies on type, including spellbooks, obviously, like I said, which is something that does see a decent presence in my local area, it pretty much shuts them down. And not to mention, it does give you access to, you know, your synchros with Mizuki effects and things like that out of the grave, so not too bad. And Book of Life, I play mainly side this in against decks like BA and other decks that are relying on the graveyard, just in place of the Soul Charge, because it can disrupt some plays, so that's, you know, useful for that reason. Starlight Road is one I've kind of been toying around with. I don't remember if I mentioned it in the last video or not, but right now it's one of those things. I mean, a lot of decks are playing 2 Dark Hole and Regeki, so it does kind of make sense that it could be viable, but it can also be a dead draw a lot and be MST bait, so that's really up to your own personal preference. I haven't really found a lot of scenarios in which I've wanted to side it in, but it's still a cool card and something I'd like to make work eventually. 2 Noblemen Across Out, this is really just for Shadal's and to a lesser extent Gravekeepers, because it's nice to be able to get over that stuff, so I'm sure there's better options for Shadal's, but also don't forget Shadow Imprisoning does hurt me quite a bit as well, with all the Dark Monsters that I have, so if I'm not playing against BA, I'll generally try to go Noblemen's. And then 2 Trap Stun, which just nullifies stuff, shuts down Trap Heavy decks like Heroes and such, and also does some damage to other decks. So it's really not all that bad. The deck is a lot of fun. I've been playing it for a while, and I'm continuing to try and improve it and make it better. But I'm always open to take suggestions, and hopefully you guys did enjoy this deck profile video. Mind you, you can click the Ultra Ball in the bottom right-hand corner to subscribe for more awesome TCG videos, and I'll see you next time right here at Loveshack Entertainment.